The 1st of September, 1939. Nazi Germany invades Poland, which marks the beginning of the Second World War. In May of the following year, the Germans establish Auschwitz concentration camp, located around 60 kilometers west of Krakow. The direct reason for the establishment of the camp is the fact that mass arrests of Poles are increasing beyond the capacity of existing local prisons. In October 1941, the Nazis begin construction of Birkenau, which will become the largest of more than 40 camps and subcamps, making up the Auschwitz complex. From March 1942, Auschwitz-Birkenau plays a central role in the German effort to kill the Jews of Europe, and approximately 1 million people, probably about 90% of the victims of Auschwitz concentration camp, will die there. From August 1942 until the camp's evacuation in January 1945, one of Birkenau's inmates is a young Slovak woman, who will eventually become a camp leader responsible for 30,000 female prisoners, and use her position to save thousands of women from the gas chamber. Her name is Magda Hellinger. The 25-year-old Magda Hellinger arrived in Auschwitz main camp in the second transport from Slovakia in late March 1942. In August 1942, the prisoners were moved into a facility located 2 miles away called Birkenau. There, Magda's role was to supervise cleaning of the barracks to maintain hygiene and bringing prisoners bread, margarine and soup, if it was available. When Magda selected her team of helpers and went to collect the bread, a young pretty German SS female guard with long plaits was observing her and called her over, asking her, "What is your name?" Magda responded and asked the German SS woman what was her name. The SS guard replied, "Irma," to which Magda replied, "Nice to meet you." It was Irma Grese, who later became known as the hyena of Auschwitz. From this first encounter, the two called each other Magda and Irma. It was always a danger if the SS would find typhus in a barracks. When Germans learned that a prisoner in a barracks had typhus, they would send them all to the gas chamber. Magda, together with 30 other Slovak girls, also caught it. However, her fellow inmates did take care of her and covered for her during the time she was ill. In the end, she survived, but after a short while she contracted malaria. This time the girls decided it was better for Magda to stay in the hospital, but because rats were running around and biting the fingers and toes of women, some who were probably dead, Magda asked to be discharged, saying, "There are better ways to die." She was taken to the barrack, and later that day, Magda learned that shortly after she had left, all the occupants of the hospital had been sent to the crematoria gas chamber. One day, around 300 French women were marched into the camp. Magda was chosen to be their barrack elder and to look after them. They were political prisoners, mostly doctors, lawyers, and intellectuals. When Magda said, "I don't speak French," Katya, who was her superior, responded, "Now you do." Magda took care of them, helping those women as much as she could until they were deported to Ravensbrück. At that point, Magda did not know that these women would later play a crucial role in her survival. Afterwards, Magda was responsible for a new group of Polish women. Maria Mandl, SS Lagerführerin of the women's camp, arranged for Magda to be moved to Block 10, which was an experimental barrack located in the main camp. It was entirely locked up and shut off from the surrounding camp. The windows were covered with wooden planks so no one could see in or out. To ease the conditions for the poor women, Magda demanded from Dr. Eduard Wertz sheets, pillows, blankets, as well as towels and soap. The operations were performed on young girls without anesthetic, and Magda would listen to them cry, plead, and scream in agony. One Jewish doctor named Samuel refused to operate on these women just for experiments and was sent to the gas chamber. On one occasion, 30 women were to be taken to a sanatorium, where the German doctors wanted to perform studies on their brains, meaning they would have to kill them first. Magda helped 2 of the women to escape. As a result, she was taken to Hans Aumeier, the camp's deputy commandant. On the following day, Irma Grese, on Maria Mandl's order, took Magda to the standing cell in Block 11, in which she could not lie down, only stand. In this standing cell, Magda and 3 other women spent 7 long nights. They could not move, not even their heads. Each morning, they were released for a morning roll call. Irma told Magda to get out and lie down quickly and have some rest before roll call. Irma Grese, who was extremely sadistic towards other prisoners, liked Magda and helped her. During the day, Magda was supposed to clean latrines, but because she was weak, other prisoners helped by allowing her to sleep and did the job for her, and when the Nazi guards came, they woke her up. Magda survived and was then promoted to the block elder or block leader of 300 Slovak girls. Magda arranged blankets for them from the Canada warehouses, which were used to store the stolen belongings of the arriving prisoners. As it was getting cooler, the Slovak girls told these blankets to use them to cover themselves. When the SS personnel found out about it, they first wanted to send the girls to the crematoria, but Magda told the Lagerführer Johann Schwarzhuber that the women were cold and just try to get warmer. After some discussion, he ordered that hundreds of dresses be given to the women on the following day. One day, Magda was taken to the hospital to be sterilized by radiation. However, the Jewish doctor's assistant told the SS doctors that all the water pipes were frozen, and they would be unable to perform any sterilizations. This gave Magda some time before Margot Dreschel, another Auschwitz camp guard who was informed of what was going on, stepped in and let Magda out of the hospital. In May 1944, Josef Kramer, the commandant of Auschwitz-Birkenau, told Magda, "Here is the Camp C, and you will be the lager eldest." Magda told him, "If you want me to be here, I want beds with straw bags, blankets, eating bowls, and wooden spoons." He said, "Okay, you will get them tomorrow." The next day, Hungarian transports came, and the population of C Camp soon swelled to 30,000 women. The SS camp leader became Irma Grese. Magda established a group of runners from young girls around 14 years old and sent them to the barracks to find doctors. 64 doctors came, and Magda assigned them to different barracks to watch over the health of the girls and look for the first signs of an epidemic. Magda decided that any prisoners showing the first signs of an epidemic would be put in the small rooms in the back of the barracks. Soon, a scarlet fever epidemic started. Because Magda knew that Irma would send the women to the gas chambers, she told her, "Irma, it is very hot. Sit in the chair in the front room while I take the roll call myself." Magda took the roll calls for 6 weeks, until the scarlet fever epidemic finished. Hundreds of women were saved. Irma Grese, who treated Magda like an elder sister, even asked her what she thought of her new boyfriend, whom she introduced to Magda. In the summer of 1944, among the women deported from Hungary to Auschwitz-Birkenau was Dr. Gisela Perl. Gisela approached Magda, telling her she had been observing the way she ran things and admired how humanely she managed 30,000 women. Gisela also explained to Magda that she was a gynecologist and had worked in a sanatorium in Romania. When an order came from the top that all pregnant women must report for registration and be sent to a sanatorium, Magda sent her runners out to let the women know that any pregnant woman must not report because the sanatorium was a lie. Over the coming months, to save the lives of the pregnant women, Dr. Perl performed many abortions. Dr. Josef Mengele, who performed random selections on the train platform, often came to the camp barracks to perform selections. The selected girls were supposed to go to the front, where the trucks were waiting for them to take them to the gas chambers. One day, after Mengele left, Magda, looking out for the SS guards, stepped among those walking to the trucks, detached a group, and simply marched them back to the barracks. No one noticed it, and the girls were saved. The next time Dr. Mengele came to the barracks and selected a huge number of young women and again left, Magda again stepped into the middle and told them to follow her, saving the girls. After that, she would repeat the trick whenever she saw the chance. However, Magda's biggest act of courage came when Mengele selected 800 girls to be sent to the gas chamber. Mengele left, and the girls were sent to Block 3, where they were guarded by a young German SS guard, who was being sent to the Russian front the next day. Magda managed to get a bottle of alcohol, and together with her assistant Gerda, they got the German guard drunk. During the night, after he fell asleep, the 2 women took the girls from Block 3 to 8 other barracks, in which they instructed the block elder to find room for these women. Each time they took a group of 100 in 5 lines as to not to draw attention. To their amazement, the Germans did not find out about it, and Magda, Gerda, and a bottle of alcohol saved 800 young girls. One day before roll call, 2 runners came with 4 women, whose breasts had been split open after Irma Grese had struck them with her whip. After Magda took care of the women, she told Irma, "Imagine if somebody did that to you. Shame on you." At that moment, Irma lifted her whip at Magda, who said, "Strike, strike. I know you like to see blood. I am offended." After Magda walked away, Irma came after her and said quietly, "Forgive me." One day, Irma came to Magda and said, "Magda, come with me to the men's camp." When Magda asked her why she needed her for that, Irma responded, "If you come, it makes it official business. When can you go?" Magda told her runners to ask the women if they had husbands, brothers, fathers, or sons in the men's camp. Women wrote their messages with their block numbers and folded the papers, and Magda's runners returned the pieces to her. Magda then delivered the notes to those addressed, and the men replied on the other side of the paper. Irma took Magda on a similar excursion into the men's camp another 2 times, and Magda made the most of it every single time. One day, Dr. Fritz Klein said to the Hungarian girls in perfect Hungarian, "Why should you be in this camp? I will send you to the sanatorium. Everything is there, including nice, clean, good food." They all wanted to go. Magda intervened and said, "If I can be here, so can you." She then told Klein, "Commandant Kramer will be very cross with you. Leave now, and don't try this again." The truck, which was ready to take the girls, not to the sanatorium but to the gas chamber, was waiting outside. There was absolute hysteria, as the girls, unaware of what awaited them, wanted to go, and Magda, who knew the truth, had to slap a few girls to stop the panic. However, the girls did not believe Magda, and never thanked her for saving their lives. In early January 1945, Soviet forces approached the Auschwitz concentration camp complex, and the SS began evacuating Auschwitz and its subcamps. These forced marches of concentration camp prisoners became known as death marches. News traveled quickly that the Russians were getting closer, and on the 18th of January 1945, the prisoners, including Magda, were sent on a death march. The weather was bitterly cold. Half of the people who started the journey were lying on the road, killed by the German SS, or having died from hunger and starvation. After countless days, Magda and other prisoners arrived in Ravensbrück. The French women, of whom Magda had previously taken care of at Auschwitz, were alerted that Magda was there. They gave her a hot shower and let her sleep in a bed. Magda had diarrhea, and the girls gave her clean pajamas and medication. They told her they would never forget how she had behaved towards them at Auschwitz, and by the time Magda had to move to Malchow camp, she had recovered. The French girls had saved her life. Finally, Magda and other female prisoners ended up in Malchow, one of Ravensbrück's subcamps. The prisoners were guarded by the SS female guards and their German shepherd dogs. The SS were very cruel, but probably one of the harshest female guards at Malchow was Louise Duns, who became commandant of the camp. Magda became friendly with Duns, trying to stop her cruelty, and in their conversation, Duns told her she had a brother on the Eastern Front, and she was very worried about him. Magda decided to use this information and asked Duns if she wanted to meet a Romany fortune teller to tell her what was happening with her brother. Magda arranged the meeting and briefed the fortune teller about her previous conversation with Duns. The fortune teller then told Duns, "Your brother is thinking about you, and he's very worried about you, about what is happening and what you are doing. He hopes you will be all right when the war is finished." Afterwards, Duns's behavior was less cruel. On another occasion, Magda asked Duns if she wanted a portrait of herself. After she agreed, Magda told Edith, a fellow prisoner who was a good artist, to paint a portrait of Louisa Duns, and take a long time doing it, hoping to keep Duns away from the camp area and beating women. On the 24th of April, 1945, the SS guards disappeared, and the women were liberated soon after by the Soviets. A few days later, they heard that World War II was over. Magda then returned home to Michalovce to find out if any of her relatives survived. Her brother Ernest, the partisan, was already home. However, her parents and brother Artur, as well as 150 other members of the Hellinger family, perished in the Holocaust. Soon, Magda was told that Bela Blau, whom she had met at Auschwitz, had been there 2 weeks ago. Soon a letter came in which Bela asked Magda to come to Žilina, located in the northwestern part of today's Slovakia. Though she hesitated as she did not really know him, she went. When the two met in Žilina, Bela lifted Magda up with happiness and ran around the room with her. The two decided to embark on the next part of their life together, and soon their daughter Maya was born. After 18 months, they were blessed with another daughter named Eva. Magda was happy that they had had daughters, because she was afraid that a boy would remind Bela of the loss of his darling 5-year-old son Erwin, who was murdered together with Bela's wife Irma at Auschwitz gas chamber. Magda and Bela opened a fabric shop and haberdashery in the Czech town of Ravensbrück, until their business was confiscated in 1948 when the Communist Party took over Czechoslovakia. The following year, the family moved to Israel, and in 1956 to Australia. It was a hard time for a young family. They had almost no money and had to start from scratch. Eventually, they worked in retail, selling menswear. In 1953, Dr. Gisela Perl's following article was published in a Hungarian-language newspaper in Tel Aviv, in which she praised Magda, saying, "Our Lageraltester, our Magda, was a righteous person. She fought like a righteous person. I thank Providence that our Magda was like that. Someone who believed and had faith that someday we will become human again. Someone who, everywhere and at all times, helped us with kindness, defended us, and saved us. Sometimes with harshness, and sometimes smiling or frowning. I feel that with this testimony, I am repaying a debt of gratitude in the name of very many prisoners, and not least in my own name, to whom Magda, the Lageraltester at Auschwitz-Birkenau, had shown so much kindness." For many years, journalists, historians, and students approached Magda for information about her time in Auschwitz. She thought they would be writing her story. However, they were doing research for their own projects. Magda was disappointed, so she decided to write her own story, and after she did, she took her unedited manuscript to be printed. She then felt her story was told. Years later, her daughter Maya felt that there was so much vital detail which was omitted from her book and decided to rewrite the story with more research. The resulting book, called The Nazis Knew My Name, has been very successful and has been translated into 13 languages. Today, the story Magda always wanted to tell is known all over the world. Until her last days, Magda Hellinger spoke about her experiences in order to make sure that the world would never forget and learn from what happened to her and her family. In the book, Magda writes, "My number is 2318. Under this number, I survived and endured dehumanization, beatings, and shouting. I suffered all kinds of sickness. Against all odds, I lived through 3.5 years, first in Auschwitz main camp, then Birkenau. Why do I now start telling my story? There are people who, for reasons beyond my comprehension, try to deny that the Holocaust existed. Did we not suffer enough that we should have to listen now to such denials? I cannot undo what was done to me and countless others. The torment and nightmares awaken me every night when I close my eyes. So I turn to you, readers, parents, teachers, preachers, professors, scientists, priests. Educate the children and public about the horrors perpetrated under the Nazi regime. Some things cannot be changed, but this denial must be stopped. I was there. I was a witness." Magda's husband Bela died on the 2nd of September 2002, aged 92. When Magda died on the 29th of June 2006, she was 89 years old. Magda's revenge is not only that she survived and lectured about the hardship she endured during the Holocaust until her last days, but that despite the Nazis wanting to kill all the Jews, her legacy and her bravery will go on not only through her 2 children and 4 grandchildren, but also through families of thousands of women whom she saved from certain death. Those women kept in touch with Magda until her last day. There were many tears shed for Magda Hellinger. Thanks for watching the World History channel. Be sure to like and subscribe, and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.